Howdy, howdy.
Hello. It's been a minute.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yep, I'm gonna beat your ass. No,
Dang.
it's when it. No, it's we just had a fun conversation and I always complain about it. Yellow's my least favorite color to play against. It's there's just so many tools that yellow can have. You have to think, okay, which one are they gonna have? How much energy they have open? What's this? What's that? And fortunately, my biggest gripe with yellow has always been poutine, just personally. And with the Unison cooler deck, I don't have to worry about that too much because I'm not playing with, I'm not playing skills with on battle cards and stuff. I'm only playing Unisons really, and then it's a few cards here and there. And yeah, it's not a big deal because it's just regular cost, the reduced cost you're paying it, not using a skill. But still, yellow generally when I see it, I do sigh.
And now you have barrier Z deck.
Yeah, the barrier removal is really nice in the Z deck. That was nice. I sideboarded chilled for the longest time, and that's just it's shield could still be maybe a little nicer if you're not trying to always play the Z battle card, but having a Z battle card on turn 3 or turn 4 is phenomenal.
Yeah, just having the card any card readily available is super nice. And I don't think I don't think we can stop talking about how good the dashback cards were. All of them were phenomenal. They made so much sense with every deck. Like every deck got a good few from it.
Yeah, and it's just really nice to play all the new stuff because I played it the last weekend and it was a lot of fun. And this is one of my favorite decks, and it's a lot of fun. Like the King Cold's ridiculously good, the Cooler is ridiculously good, and the Frieza is really good. I will say I do think personally the Frieza is probably the lesser of the three, but not by much. Like the cooler, just the Unison cooler adds so much aggression. You can get another attack for free. It allows you to build up Z energy pretty nicely, and it allows you to get your drop fueled a little bit more. So that way you can have effects like the King Cold reduce cost, or the battle card cooler that came with the set, and the King Cold also is just it's crazy.
I talked about it before. The King Cole, in my opinion, is it feels broken. I don't think it should have been one energy, but maybe it balances the deck out, and that's why it's like that. But it's pretty much a 25k dual blocker. um,
Yeah, yeah, it's really good.
I do agree, though. I do feel like the Golden Frieza Z battle card is the weakest of three, only because sometimes it can feel like a trap to play that card.
Yeah.
Because I know against Jake, I don't know if we played this matchup, but I know, yeah, me and you played this like what 2 weeks ago, I think. I was playing blue,
Yeah, it was last weekend. Yeah.
and both you and Jake did the same thing. You played the Z battle card, went into your 3-drop Unison, swung, had only one marker. I just activated battle and did absolute confidence and just ripped it off you. So if a deck can end the battle step, remove a marker, it's almost like a trap because it's only gonna have one marker on it when you do its effect.
And that's the kind of the caveat because like you can play this now a little more fluidly. It allows for more lines of play with the deck, which I like. That's what I think it's my favorite thing about the Z deck because generally when we have a new block, I usually stay away for. I'll play the first set, I'll have complaints about it. Then the next two sets I stay away. This one was only one set because I'm really excited for the next block. It looks pretty good, but I'm liking the way they're taking the Z deck and Z battle cards instead of being like it's a kind of a card you can use, to like, oh hey, here's like another small archetype you can play into if you're not seeing what you need and it's a consistent thing. Like the Golden Frieza, even without being able to play the Frieza Unison in your hand, it's still a good card in its own right.
And one thing, actually going back a turn, sorry, we got off on a tangent. When I played that Yamcha, that was actually a misplay. Yamcha only grabs Bulma's or Son Goku Childhood. He can't grab himself, so that was actually a misplay. Should have been able to grab that card on the first turn. But I don't think it matters too much, just because I searched it off the leader anyway. I searched one off a leader anyway, so I don't think it's the biggest deal. But anyway, the starter deck Goku likes to do a ton of free playing with the Bulma Unison, and as you can see here, I already have a barrier block. I now have a barrier blocker on board that can KO a battle card in rest mode. Granted, Austin's deck doesn't have too much battle cards in it, so it doesn't do much now. But just having that optional protection for go big on Unisons is really nice to have. And you can also see that I charged my robot turn 1 as well. Again, that it's not Unison heavy hate, so it's just negating one attack essentially. So I didn't feel the need to keep it in. I'd rather charge and get more stuff on board. And one of the good things about this deck is almost 80% of the cards you play have barrier, so you're going to have a lot of barrier, and it's going to stop most of the greens, because green can KO a lot of things, but not too many things in green can get around, thankfully. So a lot of my stuff is safe.
Which is actually one of the most annoying things about that deck, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredibly stupid. Yeah. But I think that's why it's really good why it was relegated to a starter deck, because if you think about it, most new players picking up a deck like this don't have much as far as interactions or don't know much about the game on an outside looking in. And having a deck that has a lot of inherent protection is really nice for that type of aspect. But if you know how to play the game, you can the shit up.
Yeah. The one thing that I did put in this deck, just because I knew he was going to play a lot of like the Yamchas and the smaller guys and stuff, was, and that's just kind of thing I just realized too, the Dodoria, the one, the counterplay you can play if you have a Unison and a battle card 2 costs or less is played. Realize it targets a lot of Z battle cards.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
That one I've started to main board in this deck for sure, because a lot of Z battle cards are 2 costs or less. They play it, they waste a lot of resources just trying to get one card out, and so I'm thinking that card, like, I've been out of the game for a bit, but I think that card's gonna be really relevant in green.
Yeah, I like that counterplay. Another one too really good is Focus Breakthrough, because I think that hits 4 costs or less. Granted, you have to be at 4 life or less to use the card. And if you're not running multicolor, it still costs. But at the same time, it's less interactable.
Yeah, and there's a lot of green cards too, or just cards in general that, like, you'll see, like, 3 or less, 4 or less, and you're like, that's not that great. But now that we have the Z battle cards, those cards are kind of getting a buff themselves. Like like we just saw this card, the Android 17, the red-blue one that just got the arrival one. It can KO a card that costs 4 or less. And it's Z battle cards, a lot, and the majority of them are 4 or less. So that's insane that you can just target a Z battle card pretty much.
Yeah, and I was really feeling the pressure here, and I didn't want to take myself down too low. Being at 3 is probably like the stopping point, at least for me in this deck, so I can Z Awaken comfortably and then just go from there. But with the Cooler in specifically, it can be very aggressive. Just now with the dual attacking Cooler Unison and just the uninteractability of Unison's cells as a whole makes it really tough to defend against most stuff. So 3 was fine for me, but I even see here I negated with Nimbus, but I didn't even proc the effect to drop another yellow card from hand, because it wasn't even. I just needed at least to keep some of my life at a higher total, just because I know you have that Golden Cooler somewhere, or Golden Frieza Unison somewhere, and I need to defend myself when it gets to that point.
Yeah, it's always dangerous being at 3 life against Cooler, just because the Frieza triple strike is always a threat, and it's really uninteractable unless you're pretty much like yellow or you're green with the Gohan. So with yellow, like I said, it's easier to deal with because of something evil. I can't remember what it's called.
Release from Evil.
Release from Evil. Thank you. Yeah. So that card really, saw a pop in the meta when this set came out.
Which I was actually about to ask Nick about that if he had it, but then I realized you didn't have the extra energy to use the Golden Frieza's ability to play it. So if Nick didn't have it and conveniently enough, if Nick didn't have it and you had the energy for it, I felt like that could have been game.
Yeah, I got in my head quite a bit here. This is like because he has a Unison out and he has Release from Evil. I was like, I don't see a point in me trying to play the Frieza and then just losing all my energy and not having one to do something with. So this is my issue with yellow. Like when it gets to this point when you can counter, you can do all this stuff. I just get really don't know what to expect a lot, especially with like just all the options yellow has.
Yeah, it really is become a toolboxy style color where it just can do almost anything. It can stop attacks, it can floodgate, it can interact with energy, which is crazy. It can ignore pretty much any skill in the game. It does a lot to where I really like the color just because it has an answer for everything. It's a really jack of all trades type of color where you can really just interact with your opponent, and I think that's fun. But that's just me.
Yeah, for me, it's that I'm already thinking about a lot of stuff when I'm playing the game, and so when I have to think of 13 extra, like 13 or 20 cards that could be in my deck, and thinking like, do I want to do this or that? It becomes too many options for me, and so I also hate playing against yellow, so I don't play yellow too much. But I just also just randomly got into green because we had a Cell rebooted, that 1 liter, then we had the cooler, and those were two of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball. So it was been nice playing green a whole lot.
Yeah, and I wanted to Z Awaken on this turn mostly because I was under the effect of Dormant, so there wasn't really much else for me per se. And now my leader is a 20k base, so it does help me a little bit on protection now. I can't get spammed out by the multitude of 15k swings. And now that I have essentially 3 blockers on board, 2 Gokus and a Bulma, I felt pretty safe for the proverbial like hat fucking that you're going to give me here in a second.
Yeah, here too is when I really started like once again just get in my head because I was like trying to figure out, do I want to get your hand down? Do I want to get another double striker in? I I just was like I need to do something, so I need to get some maybe Z battle cards in there. Maybe try to do the Frieza, get some double strikes in there, try to get a swing in. I was trying to bait something, and I honestly cannot remember now. It's been a couple days now, so I can't remember what I was trying to bait. But I remember I was trying to bait something really hard here.
I will say most of the good negates for yellow don't really affect unisons.
Yeah.
So kind of pre-establishing this card ahead of time, it's a 20k double strike, I think, right?
Yeah.
Is very smart because like right there, unless Nick wants to take 2 damage, he has to expend blockers.
I remember now. You said that, and I was trying to get him to use a negate like that because I have the counter in my hand. So I was trying to get him to use a blocker negate, and then and then him do that, and then I could blow up with the free play, blow up on the barriers with the Frieza on the board, and that was the whole point the entire time was to get rid of blockers and try to do the. It was a really weird line of play. Like I don't know what I was thinking at the time, honestly, but I was really thinking he had the Frieza's army negate in his hand or the that robotic riposte.
I just got a big ass 30k combo on board now.
which taps another double striker. Which depending on the matchup, like Nick's gonna go for that card again to clear it off because he doesn't want to keep that card on the board.
Yeah, and the only play that could have like really saved me there from that happening was if I had played the Golden Frieza instead of the Salza there, or played the Golden Frieza Unison over the battle card. That's what I mean, and save that for that and just draw another card and have a little more hand advantage. But he did have that in play, but I like Golden Frieza restands at the end of the battle, and so the Gohan and Piccolo would get played, and it would rest Frieza anyways, the Unison. So regardless there, whatever decision I made, I was kind of in a corner.
Here it gets tricky. I assume like depending on where Nick's swinging as well. Like if you negate, do you risk a counter hitting you? Do you try to bait out a negate by negating with a unison and then using dormant afterwards, but you're still taking the dormant hit?
Yeah, and there's the. So I was gonna Nize, and then.
And this leader, it doesn't have it naturally, but he gained double strike, right? Or does it have?
Yeah, it's it has crit naturally, and then you activate battle, get rid of a Goku childhood from the drop area, then you gain +10 in double strike. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go in on this, and essentially, well, I honestly I got really the card I drew off swinging with Gone cooler, so it was honestly just a spread type thing. I know. I saw my one of it.
Oh no, I was just saying it's nice.
Yeah. But essentially here I felt good going in just because at the bare minimum I was going to 30k. So at this point I just figured, fuck it, just combo the world.
Yeah, you're really safe doing that because I have no energy, and I do have unisons in my hand I can combo with, but the that counter man, oh.
Yeah, it saves you.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why people want it gone. Like, this is a turn 4, turn 5 game closer. You just swing the cards that are still on the board existing, and if they attempt to negate, you go, you sure? All right, cool. Let's get rid of that negate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's why I run the counter in this deck, because it's so absurdly good.
Yeah. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below. There's links in the description. Check them out. And bye.